The easy way to remember is STIs. So you remember.
Okay, by the way, speaking of that, another thing, is there a good clinic for that around here?
Yes.
Because I'd like to go get like a 24-hour check. Every time I switch continents, I'd like to do a check.
That's clever. Smart man.
It's industried.
Like
this is an industrial process. I
think that's a good point. Start the recording from right when you asked that question, Thomas. I like that as a great intro. I can take you to the adult performer clinic.
Right.
It's like very close to you.
Right. Okay, that's good. Yeah, is it like you pay like $200 and you get like a 24-hour?
You just pay for the performer panel.
Okay.
And you get like
the performer panel.
Yeah, syphilis, chlamydia, like the whole lot. Like HIV.
I would like that because listen,
and it's just blood and urine.
This is not a game. This is a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? The proper precautions have to be taken. This is not a joke.
Look, this is good to hear a man saying this because so many of you dirty motherfuckers are out here not wrapping up. You're raw dogging bitches, and you're the reason why I have to get a goddamn test every 2 fucking weeks. But not Madison.
No,
Madison is a gentleman.
I am. I'm a gentleman and a scholar. I do it in advance. I like to have it done before it's even required of me. Just to know how reckless I am going to be. So, for example, if I'm going to go on a European tour and I know I'm going to be like in Budapest, Prague, I want to be in Vienna, I'm like, whoa, you're going to go out there? First of all, we go to Amazon. We do the bulk order of the Trojan Magnums.
Yep.
The bear skins. We do the bulk order. 48 of them come.
You just call them the bear skins?
Yeah, that's what they're called. Trojan Magnum bear skins.
I've never heard them called the bear skins. I've never heard them.
There's a version of it. There's a version of it. You can only get it in America. So you bulk order them in America. You get like 48 of them or whatever it is. You put them into a toiletry bag specifically designed for that with your, other ingredients in there. And then you go for your test. You go for your tour. That's what happens. That's how it works. We're talking about being professional here, okay? I mean, would you the thing is, would you prefer that I don't take those precautions?
Exactly.
Would you prefer that I'm not careful? No, of course you do. You prefer that I like it. I take care of those precautions.
I'm the same. I like to make sure that I have a clean test if I'm going to be seeing a lady friend.
Yes.
And I know we're not going to be wrapping up.
Right.
Because I know I'm not fucking with her.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm not. Because she ain't gonna come at me for anything.
No, and she's gonna if she's not okay with that, then she's gonna ruin your perfect record of just like listen. I don't need you fucking up this program.
Look, seriously, knock on wood. I have yet to contract a damn thing.
Yeah.
Spending this is a good 8 years now of having coitus professionally.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Not a goddamn thing, and I'm very, very lucky.
That's amazing.
You all might recognize this gentleman from a certain company, whom we cannot say.
It's like Voldemort. Them who shall remain nameless.
Yeah, if you say the name on YouTube, apparently, and you told me this, that if we say the name on YouTube, it's going to fuck up this channel. So we're just going to say Madison was one of the best coaches for the world's largest dating company there has ever been.
Ever been.
That has ever been. Ever existed.
Yeah. Doing meeting hundreds of thousands of people every single year, actually. I'd say about 10,000 people every year face to face. Millions online. I've done 5 international world tours. Last year would have been my final world tour, but I had to postpone it to this year. So it's called 6 world tours now. About 35 countries every single year. So just imagine the amount of like experience I have with every situation. When I answer a question, it's not like my personal opinion. It's like I'm going into the computer of every single person from every single background, every nationality, every age group. The guy who's like 30 years old, the guy's 45.
Database you got up here.
It's basically like I see the Matrix all the time, and it sucks. It sucks. Sometimes you can't turn it off, but yeah, it's like I'm like the Elon Musk of like social dynamics. Like I see it all the time. It's like or like Rain Man, or I don't know who's that other person.
I've referred to myself as the Genghis Khan of orgasms. Because they all eventually get traced back to me.
Right. I like this. This paints a visual picture in my mind when I hear it. Before I came on here, I purposely didn't look him up on other websites.
Correct.
I didn't want to be looking at him and thinking about his
looking me right in the eye.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want that kind of a vibe, so I just left it alone.
I have so many friends back home who will message me periodically on Facebook.
Yeah.
And be like, you motherfucker. I was just scrolling through the hub.
Right.
And your face came up.
Right. Especially if it's in the middle of a session.
Yeah, he's halfway through.
Yeah,
he's halfway through. He's like, oh, God.
This is my buddy. No. I don't want that happening. So I was like,
I think I've personally helped more men quit pornography.
Really?
Than anyone on the planet. just because, especially through this YouTube channel, because the guys who watch this channel, they know I tell them not to, fap it to porn. They know that I don't advocate it, and they know me a bit more personally because they see me all the time on YouTube. So now they're not going to go friggin' rub one out and watch me, or at the risk of seeing me.
Right.
So I'm saving lives out here, Madison.
You are.
Saving lives. Doing God's work.
Exactly. I was going to say that. The way we're both doing God's work. I appreciate that.
I actually had a friend tell me that. He said, you're actually doing God's work, Stirling. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. He's like, no, I'll tell you why. He's like, because you're saving marriages. Because you're teaching dudes how to actually please their wife properly, how to get them back into that sort of headspace where they want to be feminine, they want to be submissive, they want to be, they're lusting for you, which I think, we're kind of segueing a bit here, which is fine. But I think that a healthy relationship dynamic is one in which the woman wants sex from the guy more than the guy wants sex from her.
I agree. That'd be absolutely accurate, And I think what you're saying there is really important, because you look at like the divorce rates are crazy. I don't think sex is the only part of it, but the divorce rates are crazy right now. I think it's like 54% in America, and I think it was 78% are initiated by the woman. And so if those are the statistics we're working on, the guys got to step their game up. Basically.
But it's not only the bedroom stuff. It obviously that is a big component of it. If she's not if the pipe isn't being laid properly, then there's going to be some nagging going on in the relationship typically.
Right.
But it doesn't start there. It starts long before that, though. The whole the dynamic you have with her starts long before that whole problem arises. But we're not here to talk about laying pipe. We're here to talk about
or throwing hot dogs down hallways.
No, none of that. I want to talk to you about your experiences, having been in a dating coach for quite a while, and now you guys have transitioned into different things. I'm curious. Well, first of all, what are you guys kind of focusing on these days?
Okay, so we've been studying social dynamics for a really long time. Myself personally, a decade. Like I've been starting. I read over 500 books, seminars, and courses in the area of self-development. I would go out and just socialize and try to meet people 7 hours a day in the morning, go to work, then go out at night for 7 hours, sleep like 4 hours a day, and I did it for like a year. I probably met face-to-face over 100,000 people, just interacted and greeting. So that knowledge is very, very useful. And I've trained everybody from backgrounds of the broke college student who lives in their mama's basement, all the way up to the jet-setting CEO who wants to have fun on their boat on the weekend. So doing all that, that's a wealth of knowledge that you can now transfer into other human interactions. At the same time, this was always about meeting people. This was always about learning how to communicate with people. That's what it was. There's no, even like anything like dating advice, buyer-seller dynamic means being the buyer in a situation, or learning how to keep your power for yourself, or learning how to communicate, learning how to show empathy, learning how to express things within yourself, learning how to draw state from within. All those things are still relevant in normal human interactions. So you can use these same skills to then go on and I would say network at a big conference. You can use them to get a new job, get a job interview, increase your income. You can use them to meet people romantically if you want, for a lifetime or for one night. You can use them to problem solve with your family. These skills are useful in any situation, and they're never, ever, ever going to expire. These are skills that you have with you that you can incorporate for the rest of your life until your dying days. And I think in this day, now more than ever, it's a matter of survival, because we've all been trapped in our houses for a little bit of time. Okay, they said it was 2 weeks. It wasn't 2 weeks.
Happy anniversary of 2 weeks to slow the spread.
2 weeks anniversary, yeah. They said it would be 2 weeks. It hasn't been. So now you're probably rusty like a mofo, or most people are rusty like a mofo, because they haven't exercised these skills. But it's a lot like riding a bike. So you have a muscle memory when you ride a bike. This could be a social memory. Once you start using your social skills again, you can get them back. And if you don't have them, you can build them. And now is the best time than ever to build them, because if we don't, we just go downhill.
Do you think, especially in this day and age when everyone is on their goddamn phone, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, do you think that these skills become even more powerful now? Because so many people, this is kind of the question I'm asking is, are these sort of face-to-face, real tangible social skills even more valuable, or are they kind of mitigated because everyone's on their phones and learning to interact digitally instead?
Right. Good question. They're more valuable now than ever. It's literally a matter of survival. Like, because if you don't use these skills or learn these skills, like dating or social skills, you're going to stay in your house and you're not going to have the experience to learn them or practice them. Imagine these kids right now that haven't been to school in like a year. Like there's like, remember how like our teenage years were rough? Yeah. Like I was like picked on and bullied on and stuff like that. But like imagine not having a human interaction and you're like in grade 6 or grade 7, like your first year of high school or either your graduating year of high school, and you never had a chance to go to prom. You never had any of this stuff. Couldn't hold a girl's hand by the lockers. Like imagine that. And then you get out and you're in the real world. You're like, what do I do now? And you'd be absolutely clueless, right?
Well, all these kids are being and not even the kids that are in school, but think about the kids that are sort of in their formative years.
Right.
They're being the last, and especially like five, I don't know what, I can't remember what year is like the most formative year. It's probably like, I think it's like something like 3 or 4 or 5 or something like that. Yeah. You probably know. But if they were that age this last year, they've been taught to not interact with people.
Right.
That being outside is dangerous, scary. You know, to like wash your hands all the time.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have terrible immune systems. Social anxiety, right? Vitamin D deficiencies.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be all kinds of fucked up problems.
Yeah. We've been pumped with fear for so long. I'm not going to get political here because I'm Canadian. I don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
But
me neither. So
yeah, Australians and Canadians, the two Commonwealth countries, right? Teaming up together again to take back the promised land. I don't have a dog in this fight, but like we've been pumped in our mind for a year to think that if you hug grandmom, you're going to kill grandma if you hug her. That's what we've been taught for a year. So you have this going through your mind. You're like, can I say hello to somebody at the grocery store? Am I going to kill them if I say hello at the grocery store? I want to go for melons, but they're going for melons too. And if we both go for melons at the same time, one of us is going to die. Like the amount of fear that's in the self-talk you have, the amount of fear is crazy. Yeah. So we have no choice but to learn this stuff now. It's literally a matter of survival. If you don't learn this stuff, it's going to be like, your arm is cut off and you're bleeding profusely from your arm and you're just trying to stop the blood from rushing out and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
It's a little bit traumatic, don't you think, Madison?
Yeah, it's dramatic. This is your life. And then it's like you're just blushing, gushing blood out, blood bleeding all over the place. It's spraying on the wall, it's on the floor, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. So you got to get ahead on that while you have the opportunity to, right? Like right now is the most important time in history. This is like, I call this year the Iron Man year. Remember that movie Iron Man, the first one, where like Tony Stark, he like went to the cave. Are you a Marvel fan?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the first Iron Man movie. Yeah.
I wasn't sure by the reaction. Like, you look excited. Usually when I mention Marvel, the people that like Marvel, they get excited, but you didn't get excited.
I'm like, here's another fucking geeky story.
Yeah, here it is.
I'm joking.
Listen. Everybody who watches this is going to be geeky. And they're going to love it. Okay. Listen, the numbers don't lie at the box office. Everybody loves Marvel. Okay. So in Marvel, right? That Tony Stark movie, the first Iron Man, he gets trapped in that cave. And he's in there, he starts building the Iron Man suit, and then he gets out and he frees himself from his oppressors, right? But so this is like your Iron Man year. It's like you got to like really work on yourself, focus on yourself, take that opportunity to work on social skills, or else you're screwed. Now, to be more exact in your question, because I've been kind of like beating around the bush here, to be more exact in your question, online is effed up everything. I don't know if I can swear in this channel, I don't know.
Well, I already have like a dozen times.
Okay. Online has messed up everything. The whole, let's say they call it the sexual marketplace, that whole thing is screwed. It is screwed because this year, more people got online than ever. Everybody Zooms, right? Now, what it also means is for the dating aspect, every guy that was never online before now got online. And he wasn't necessarily a high quality guy. He was a low quality guy. So every guy now competes for the same like fish. You know what I mean? It's like, instead of like 10 guys fishing for the same fish, it's now like 30 guys fishing for the same fish. And the number of fish didn't really increase that much. Yeah. So you got to really learn how to separate yourself online from anybody else. And you got to also learn the face-to-face interactions. I find I have success online, but I find I have way more success in conversion face-to-face now because no one can do that anymore. So it's like I become like the purple cow. You ever read Seth Godin, Purple Cows? So like the idea, for you guys who don't know, is like you become the one who stands out. You're so unique and so one of a kind. So when you can approach somebody and meet them face to face and be calm, cool, collected, smart, intelligent, witty, lead, all these things, you are now the purple cow. It's like, oh man, where did this guy come from? He's from nowhere. I've never seen anything like this. I'm going to drop everything I'm doing. I'm going to cancel my friends and hang out with this guy. That's what happens.
And it's hard. It's kind of interesting because I you know, how old are you? You're about the same age as me, I think.
Late 30s.
Yeah. Okay, we're not that far apart. And it's like we grew up kind of being more, obviously being socially calibrated or being socially exposed, right? And there's like women who are in their sort of like early 20s, they grew up online, right? They grew up on their phones. And so that I tend to find sometimes that I have a disconnect between, I would much rather be like, I'm way more charming in person than I am over a phone, you know? But you have to kind of develop that skill of being able to convey that personality over the phone. Otherwise, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's reps. It's reps. You got to put the reps in to get the experience. And until you get those reps in, people are like, you just have no way to do it or know what you're doing. Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, yeah, you've been sort of doing this for a while. In the last like 5 years, what is like the biggest shift you've seen in the dating market? You know, the sexual marketplace. What's the biggest change you've seen amongst men and amongst women?
Right. Okay. All right, I'll tell you the one with the women. I laugh because I know exactly what I'm going to say. So I'll tell you the one with the women, all right? And then I'll tell you the one with men. I got to keep it equal here because I don't know who's watching your channel. Actually, you have female viewers as well?
I have a handful. I have mostly dudes, but I have a few females jumping in here. Like, they'll completely agree with my sex advice and they'll completely disagree with my dating advice.
Or worse, they'll hold you up to that standard. They're like, all right, let's see what you got, big boy. Let's go.
Well, they can Google that.
Okay. Like it. Okay. So I'll give you the female things that have happened and the male things that have happened. I'll tell you both because I think for somebody to really get this, they have to understand both sides of the field here. So for the average female, let's say you're now online. Let's say you're 25 years old. You're now online. You have access to more high value males than ever in the history of time. The access is incredible. Ask to see a girl's DM that's like 25 and she's like in shape and she's beautiful and she's intelligent and she's like outgoing. Ask to see her DM. She'll probably have a bunch of blue check marks that are in there that are just mind blowing. Okay, so now I would compare that to the platinum or the black credit card, like the Centurion credit card. It can be swiped anywhere. It can get you access to, we're in Miami now, get you on a boat through the weekend. It can get you a bottle service at Live. It can get you whatever you want, free of charge. Okay. So what happens is that eventually at around 25 to 30, I call it the 30-year-old mark, that black card is now traded in for a gold card. But nobody tells them. They just send like a little notice in the mail, you know? Nobody tells them. They can still get access to the stuff, but there's just less credit on it because time is ticking, right? There's a biological clock that's ticking. And I'll explain why that's important. And then after, I'd say about at 35 years old, that gold card gets traded in for a travel rewards card. Okay, it gets traded for the card. It gets you like burgers and fries, basically, as like the points, right? And nobody tells them this. Just one day they go to swipe the card and like, wait a second, I used to be able to like get yachts. And like, I'm sorry, that has been moved to the new 25-year-olds. You're now 36. I'm sorry, I can't get you that yacht anymore. I used to say the bottle service.
Best I can do is a soda.
Best I can do is a soda. I used to get bottle service at Live. I can get you a bottle of Coke, but I can't get you like, and it's kind of a trip because the guys that she maybe has been used to dating at that point, she can still date them, but they won't settle down into a relationship with her. Yeah. Right. So this is the challenge. It's like a sense of confidence, and then you may be rushing to like catch up with time. It's like time has slipped by. We're now rushing to catch up. Okay.
I've said before that girls who, especially here in a city like Miami, girls will sort of end up sleeping with a rapper, an athlete, you know, like a blue check mark celebrity or something.
Yeah.
And then they'll have kind of the delusion that they'll be able to lock that guy down in 5 years' time. That same guy, they'll be able to end up with a relationship with that guy, a long-term relationship with that guy, like marrying, like quote unquote marrying or whatever. But not now, but in 5 years' time, which is really not the case.
No.
Because that guy is going to have options for a long time.
Yeah, not only have options, but he's usually in a place like Miami. If you're in Miami, LA, New York, it's a quick money guy. So he hasn't built a sustainable business. He's got like the car scheme hustle. He's got like the credit card scam hustle.
There's a lot of those out here.
Yeah,
credit card scammers.
The drug dealer hustle. But those aren't long-term plans, right? Yeah. Those are like hit and run money. So even though he's the guy right now, if he continues his lifestyle for 5 years, he might not be that guy.
He might be in jail.
He might be in jail or worse, right? Yeah. Like, or he's gonna have somebody else pregnant by then, and he has like 3 different kids somewhere else, and like, you know, maybe you don't want to get with him, start a family, like whatever the situation is. So she doesn't really understand that she has the travel rewards card. At the time to cash in would have been when you had the black card, but there's no incentive to cash in when you have that black card or that platinum card, right? So that's the aspect that maybe women sometimes miss, unfortunately. And it's not saying that you can't work on your career and have it too. It's just that there is a give and take. There is the social story that's told is you can have it all, but you can't have it all at one time. There's no way you can have everything at one time.
No.
And this goes for men as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of my buddy Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast. He has this sort of analogy about like the candy store, where like women are in the candy store from like day one. They can have all the candy they want. They can have all the candy they want, and then guys have to kind of like work to get access to the candy store. That's them building up their value, building up their network, working out, getting in shape, working on social skills, and then they finally get access to the candy store and like, yes, and they don't want to leave the candy. The guys be like, well, why would I leave the candy store? Right. I'm in now.
Right. Like, at that age, like when he's like they're on his life.
Because the guy, it takes a guy until he's like in his 30s, typically, to like really hit his stride, you know, and that's the time he's sort of at his peak. Why would he want to sort of cash all his chips in at that point?
I see.
When she's like, oh, I'm ready to settle down now because I'm 34. Well, honey, I'm now hitting my stride.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy that's hanging out on the yacht with the black platinum card.
Right. That's kind of funny. It's kind of like when you get to a club like really late and then you just got into like closing time. Like, I just got here. Yeah. I just got in this club. No, we're hanging out in the lobby. We're hanging outside on the street. We're not leaving this club. We just got here. That's kind of the way I think about it. Yeah, it's true. That's
I'm curious. What were you going to say about the guys now?
So for the guys, they have to realize what type of high value person they want to be. When I say high value, is your audience familiar with that term?
Yeah.
Okay. So they have to decide kind of a high value guy they want to be. And they have to decide what kind of a high value guy the girls have dated already. So there's typically 3 types of high value guys a girl has dated at some point when she's in that like platinum card area. It's going to be, like I said, one, it's going to be like the drug dealer, the guy at the credit card scheme, or like the rapper. Okay?
So fast money guy.
Fast money guy, okay? So the rapper is like the guy who's like, she's like, oh, he's a rapper. She can tell all her friends about it. But then she goes to the studio with him a bunch, and he just like can't complete any songs, and he's not that talented. She's like, man, this guy sucks. She eventually realizes like 3 months into it, 4 months into it, right? Then the fast.
I'm just imagining that scenario in my head.
Do you know these guys?
No.
You know them?
Probably.
Or it could be like a bass player, right? Or a guitarist. Like, you know, they date his drummer for about 6 months or 9 months, and they're like, this guy actually does not have anything going on besides his music.
Yeah.
I need to get out of here really quickly. And then they've wasted a year on that guy, right? The thing is, the challenge is typically when a woman wants to date a guy, let's say she wants to marry a guy. I don't know if you're into marriage or not, but monogamous relationship, typically it's going to take her a year of knowing that guy to vet him, and then it's going to take like a year or 2 more to get into like moving in situation with him. So she essentially wastes 1 to 3 years, and that time is gone.
And time is a lot more valuable for women than it is for men.
It's opportunity cost and risk with that. So like it's gone. It's like can't get it back. The next level of guy she probably dates is like that you could be or be competing with is I mentioned the scam guy. It would be I mentioned the rapper guy. The next one would be like the sugar daddy guy, right? This is a guy who's like typically like 45 years old. He's made his money in business and he's done pretty well for himself. Maybe he's even had a divorce and he just wants to settle down with some pussy and some peace. That's all he wants in his life at this time. Pussy and peace, the 2 P's, right? And he's supposed to settle down and he wants to you know, or he has settled down already. He just wants on the weekend just have a woman to take to dinner, has some peace and quiet, has some chill, and when he gets back to work on Monday, he wants no distractions. And so she'll date him for a while, but then he starts to get attached, and she realizes that she can't give him the relationship that he really wants. These are the guys who pay for like a girlfriend experience in like, you know, the adult industry. So recognizing that you've dated a girl, okay? You've dated a girl, and she's dated at least a few of these guys. If she's 25, she's still on that trip. If she's 30, she's like, I got some more time. But if she's 35 and she's dated those guys, she's wasted so much time now that she's like, okay, I got to make up for lost time. And she's got some urgency in her. And now the bad part would be also, too, if she's 35, she might have dated so many of those guys, she can't get out of it now. She's trapped in the hustle. I'll explain what I mean. So I'm a Canadian, right? I'm a Canadian. I like my poutine, my maple syrup. You know, I like
your mousse.
My mousse is. We like leaving our doors open. Some places you go to Canada's
I've
areas.
heard that.
Yeah, it's not everywhere. But like kind of like countryside, like Perth would be a place maybe like that. You leave your door open, like whatever. Like it's fine. So when I come here to Miami. And I tell girls, yeah, like I'm working on my laptop. Oh, I got a client. I got to meet at 7 p.m. They're like, what do you do? They're like on alert. I'm like, why are you on alert? Like, because guys say things and they don't do what they say. They're like on alert because they've dated too many scam guys.
Yes.
So they don't understand what's happening.
This city is rife for that.
Yes. Yeah. It's like an exaggerated version. This city takes all those 3 guys that I mentioned and crams them close together and like extends that for like 5 years. So a woman has to leave Miami, New York, or Miami, New York, or Los Angeles within 4 years, or she becomes jaded.
Wow. That's a very interesting insight.
Yeah.
So a woman has maximum 4 years to live in that city.
Right, because it's actually like stretched out for a decade. If you combine all the experiences, right, it's like a decade of like living somewhere else for 10 years and meeting those types of dudes. So unfortunately, she has to kind of like not be too in the thick of that, or else she gets trapped in the honeypot.
Yep.
And it becomes a problem where you can't unprogram your mind because you've seen too much of it, right? It's
so then she becomes jaded, and she becomes even more sort of like, she becomes more discerning for guys who she doesn't actually need to be as discerning with.
Right, exactly. So she'll meet a good guy and be like, it's not good enough because I'm used to this. I'm used to somebody putting a $1 million necklace on my neck for the weekend when we go to like an award show. I'm used to that. Oh, you have a regular job? I can't fuck with you. Or like the guy says, yeah, you know, I wanna like settle down, have a relationship. She's like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
You're lying.
You're lying. Why are you lying to me? Because you've just been dating too many of those rappers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the guy, if you're a guy, you have to realize that's the dating marketplace you're entering into in 2021. So, and it sucks.
So it sucks. So I've got 2 questions to follow up.
Yeah.
One, what is the solution for guys then in that? What's the antidote for dudes to get around this conundrum? And 2, even more, do you coach women at all?
I do.
Now my next question after that would be, I'd love to know what advice you give to young women to avoid that trap.
Yeah, okay. So what I tell guys is just move to Eastern Europe. really, that's the ultimate thing. But you know, the world is so westernized right now. So it's like, you know, a woman could be from a very, very poor country in Romania and still have 50,000 Instagram followers, and she's like banking off of that.
I know. Are you familiar with the Tates at all?
No.
Oh, they're friends of mine. They're from Romania.
Okay.
Romanian, webcam pimps.
Okay. Romania, that's where it is. Okay.
Well, they're English, but they live in Romania.
Okay. Well, that's you know, I mean, they can make some serious banking doing that from somewhere in the world.
They do. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. And you know, 50. Like, let's say even if you were making like 70K USD in a country like Romania, you're basically like making like $250,000 a year. That's what it equals. So it's like.
But what you just said, absolutely, it's kind of. The reason I asked if you knew them was because they have said. Andrew Tate has said the exact same thing as what you just said. So a girl from like a small town in the middle of the Ukraine, now like 15 years ago, prior to Instagram, she was just this unicorn floating around in a random ass town. The baker might marry her.
Right.
The
baker.
But now...
the blacksmith.
Exactly, right? But now, with Instagram, that girl in that tiny town has like 50,000 Instagram followers, and she ain't sticking around in that tiny town.
Yeah.
So Bob the blacksmith, whatever, doesn't have a chance at wifing her up.
Right. So what's the solution you're asking?
Yeah.
Your only solution, your only solution, do or die. It's a matter of life and death. You don't like where you are, it's your fault. Okay? You got to save yourself. Nobody's going to come save you. Mom's not going to come save you. Dad's not going to come save you. Your only solution, I'm very passionate about this, is to unplug her, basically. To unplug her if she's willing to be unplugged.
So what does unplug her mean?
I would say, like, you know, some guys might call it like a REDPILL. Some guys might say it's like that. Yeah. But to unplug her from like what is the usual norm. So the best age to unplug somebody would be like 27 to 30. Where I call it like 27 to 30, it's like, you know, I mentioned the age groups before. It's like that would be the best age because the person is still like adaptable and they haven't been set in their ways yet. There's a lot of people that are like women that are like 38 that love to meet a great guy, but they're too set in their ways. They're not adaptable to change. There's a great book that I'm currently reading, and our head of sales is a guy named Jim Rohn, who was vice president for Tony Robbins' head of sales. He has this great book he recommends called Immunity to Change, and it just says people who don't want to change. It's so hard for somebody to make a change. It might make a cognitive goal, but they can't change to get to that goal. So in a lot of ways, we're the same thing in our dating. So the best thing would be like meet somebody who's like 27 to 30. 33 seems to be like in North America seems to be the height. I'm sure in Eastern Europe it'd be like 35 is still fine. But somebody in that age group that can be unplugged, and somebody that's going to allow you to take the leadership, not because they are weak or they are not a leader themselves, but allow you to take the leadership because they're trusting you and they vetted you and they want you to be somebody that exercises your full ability. So it's like you still consult with them. You still like, if there's a big decision to be made, you still consult with them, but they trust you to like take that decision making, right? Like why would I date somebody who doesn't trust my decisions, right? Like a woman should respect me before I go on a date with her. If I take a woman out to Nurser, the Salt Bay restaurant, right? Take a woman out there and she doesn't respect me, I've just dropped $200 for a woman that doesn't respect me. So I would make sure somebody respects me before I even go out on the date. I make sure that like we can get on a phone call, make sure we can video chat. Are you down for meeting a guy? Are you willing to are you willing to actually like put the effort in? Okay, cool. You made a phone call, made a video chat. All right, now we can go out to this dinner.
What do you think of the argument that a woman's respect for a man, off the before like the first interaction, say it's like off of a dating app or something, right? That a woman's respect for a man is going to be directly correlated to how much he is investing in her.
Yeah.
So like for example, guy. What do you call them? There's the phenomenon of like foodie dates.
What are those?
A foodie call. So like,
is it like Uber Eats?
No, it's like instead of a booty call, it's like he's the guy that I call when I want to get dinner for me.
Oh, a foodie call! I love that. I've never heard it before. It's great.
So the idea is like a woman, like if a guy is willing to, let's give two different examples, right? The guy who invites a woman out, and let's pretend these two men are like the same social value. Right, let's pretend they make the same amount of money. They're exactly the same jacked. Just pretend they're twins for all extensive purposes, right? One of them takes her out to a casual coffee date. He's like, "Hey, I want to get to know you. We're going to sit here and chill and have coffee." The other one takes her out to nurse set. Which of those two do you think the woman has more respect for?
Good question. Yeah,
because I'll give you my opinion, and I think I think she's going to respect the guy who just bought her coffee more because she won't say that, but deep down in her head, she won't respect the guy who's blown $200 on her off rip because he doesn't even know it yet.
Right. So
I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. So I have two answers to that. First answer is, that's a very North American thing.
Right.
It's a very North American, and I would consider Australia to be North American as well.
Oh yeah, very similar
in the idea. Typically before, back in Europe, that would not be normal. In Europe, you go to a country like Budapest or like I would even say like I don't know, Croatia or something like that, and you meet a woman and you take her out for a coffee. Say, "I'd like to take you out for a coffee." She would say, "Sure," and then you would go for a walk by the opera house and you'd sit on the steps outside and the sun would go down and that would be your date. And she'd be there because you're trying to get to know her, and you'd be like, "Excuse me, do you like me?" And she'd say, "I'm interested. That's why I'm here. Why would I not be here if I'm not interested? Why would I waste my time?" Right?
They're pretty blunt.
Yeah, they're very straightforward about it. Like, it's like, especially Germans too, like, why would I waste time if I wasn't interested? Why would I come here? You think I have time to come here if I'm not interested? And the idea is that two people are there because they're interested in each other. However, in the Western world, it's kind of like you're starting off on a lower setting as a guy, and it's like, you gotta like, why are you worth the time as a human being? Why are you worth that time? Now, that's the scenario, okay? So the other question is, how do you compete with a guy who's like, "I'm gonna buy you dinner first. I'm gonna buy you. I don't even know your name, but come out on this yacht," okay? And the answer is you don't compete because you're gonna lose that game.
Right.
You're always gonna lose that game. You're always gonna lose that game. What you have to do is something that I would call like the abrasive gentleman, okay? And this is to be like a kind of technique based. The abrasive gentleman means like you're still nice and you're still courteous, but you really lay your boundaries and your standards down right away.
Right.
Really, really clear, really in the beginning. You don't wait for it to come up. You're very proactive about it and you lay it down. So I might say something like, "Hey, listen, last year was crazy. It was COVID. My business got cut in half because I did seminars and I really hustled back. And I'm a kind of guy that worked for everything I had. So if you want handouts, that's not going to happen. But if you want to build with me, we can do that together."
Yeah.
Right.
You sit in the frame of like, you have to work for anything I give you. Like,
yeah.
Like I'm not here to be a sugar daddy.
I'm not here to be a sugar daddy, but we can build some good shit together and we can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. I would say, "Hey, listen, I want to travel just as much as the next guy. Maybe you have guys that fly you out. But when I travel, I've done all the resort stuff. I want to enjoy the culture. I want to get in the fucking culture. I want to go to like Cuba and I want to like go into a family's house and we're going to have dinner with them." Like I set like a different kind of vibe, right? And I don't even say vibe because vibe basically means nothing, but I set a different kind of frame, you could say. And either she's with it or she's not. I try to be the purple cow. Like I mentioned before, I try to stand out, be so unique, so outgoing, so different, so like, what the fuck is this? Compared to what she's getting as offers, that she may be more inclined to like what I'm putting on the table versus with the other guy. Because you're not going to compete with the yacht guy.
Yeah.
You're not going to. Somebody always has a bigger yacht. The guy, I heard Tony Robbins say one day, he's like, I had this boat, and I'm a millionaire, and then I dropped my boat, and I saw my other friend's boat go by, and he was a billionaire, and I felt like my $1 million yacht was nothing. You're always going to feel like that. There's always going to be a better table service at Live. There's always going to be a better bottle service at Live. There's always going to be another rapper. You just can't compete with that. You don't compete with that because there's always levels to it. And then you get sucked in that trap, and you can't compete. And also the opportunity cost is not really worth it, I found in my experience, because you'll blow so much cash, time, or investment chasing that phantom that you actually don't get the reward. And the more you go down that road, actually the worst woman you're probably meeting. You're not meeting a woman that's like gonna like necessarily like have your back when shit hits the fan. As Biggie would say, like, as the Notorious B.I.G. would say, a woman who's gonna like hide your Glock in a trash can when the po-po comes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna find that at that level.
Yeah, like a ride or die woman.
Exactly.
And that's, I think that's what men are really after. Is a right. Like if it really boils down to it, like they're not after just endless amounts of vagina.
Right. Pussy in peace.
Pussy in peace.
Pussy is the most simplest way.
But the peace is the hard part to find.
Exactly, my friend. The peace is the hard part to find. The peace is what you get into it for the genitalia. Okay, you get into it to bump beavers, and then you're in it. You're like, oh man, this is not worth the headache. At some point, maybe you're not there yet. You probably like, I want to get there. Okay, you go get there. But after some point, you're like, if you got like a few people you're dating, or you're in Miami and this girl's like flaking on you all the time, and she flakes, and so it fucks up your Saturday evening. Now you're sitting home alone on a Saturday evening with nothing to do, and all your friends are already out, and you missed out on this concert. And you're like, man, this was not worth the headache, right? So at some point, the cost becomes more than the opportunity, and you're like, I need some peace. Because
the peace is not just like her not nagging; it's also her not flaking, her understanding that you have your time is valuable, not wasting your time, adding to your life. Not, I like to say, like, a woman who's a compliment to my life, not complicates it.
Oh,
because that's
sprinkle it in, drop jewels.
Like, that's it. It's that simple.
Yeah,
it's really not that complicated, but we complicate it ourselves, right. I think.
And I mentioned before those guys who are like 40 years old, 45 years old to get their business, and they've been divorced and they just want somebody around them. That's what they want. They want the peace part first. They want the uncomplicated part first, and then they want some like intimacy.
Yes,
right. So that's what they want at that level. But most of us, what we do is we chase too much. And because we chase too much, we have messed up this market value of what dating is like and what people are actually worth, and we did this to ourselves, really. We did it to ourselves.
It's your fault.
Yeah, yeah. You inadvertently created the situation that you're in, so this is where we are.
Madison is blaming you. Understand that, everybody. Yeah. It's actually funny you mentioned that, like, that kind of sugar daddy scenario, because that's obviously, I used to be a high-class male companion. We talked about this before. A lot of my friends back in Australia are still companions themselves, these young ladies. And we would swap stories and stuff, and it was the most common thing. People think when sugar dating and prostitution kind of go hand in hand. I think to a degree, people try to especially women will try to separate the two, like they're two totally different things.
Right. I have a lot of thoughts about that.
I would love to hear them in a second. It's most people think that wealthy businessmen are just hiring a prostitute just to get their rocks off. It's not that. More often than not, they're whale clients, the biggest clients, the ones that spend the most, the ones that they see the most, are looking for that peace of mind.
Yeah,
they're either divorced or their wife nags them all the time, and they want to see a companion on the side.
Yeah,
just to have somebody be nice around them.
Yeah.
That's it's so. Once you see this, so many guys get blown away when they hear this for the first time. But it's just like this dude is paying this woman like $1,000 an hour.
Yeah,
just
to talk,
to be nice.
Yeah,
just to be nice.
You're right.
That is it. That is it.
Nice. Which, how rare is that, right?
Simple.
In this day and age. But it's like you cannot. If a woman's getting 50 DMs a day, you can't expect her to be nice necessarily, because why would she value that? Because she doesn't have to be nice to get the offers.
And that is it right there. She doesn't have to be nice to get what she wants.
Right. So it's like, why would I be nice?
So there's a very interesting like incentives matter
Yeah.
Incentives are very, very important for getting anyone to do anything. You can't. You can ask somebody to do it nicely, and they might do it for you. That's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But if you don't apply the right incentives to people, you're going to get the wrong results out of them.
Right. So this is something that's really important too. I put this into my my verbal arsenal. Okay. This is something I call the proposition of value. I'll drop it on your viewers here. So the proposition of value to me is, what are you inviting that person into? Like if I invite a woman to a coffee, she's not necessarily going for just a coffee with me, because she can buy her own coffee, right? Especially a place like Miami, you say, let's go for a drink. She's like, I'm not going out for drinks. Why am I going out? I can buy my own drink. Miami is the type of place where people will say, I'm not going out with you unless you buy me dinner, because they want more of an incentive, right? So you're looking at the incentive in the wrong lane. My incentive is, listen, if you go out for a coffee with me, you're going to hang out with a dude who's incredibly internationally traveled, well-versed. I worked really, really hard on myself. I'm the type of guy that lost 12 pounds of body fat during COVID. Thank you very much. Pat me on the back. Okay. I'm a guy who's really ambitious and going for what he wants, loyal, and I'm willing to bring somebody along with me on the ride and build together. Okay. So if I'm saying that, that's who you're going for a coffee with, and I see a lot of good in you, and I think that you have a lot of potential that's untapped, and I want to, help you get there. It's like, that's what she's going for a coffee with, right? So I'm able to stand out in the marketplace by putting it down like that. That's the incentive to hang out with me. It's who I am and what I'm going to do versus what I have. Okay, you want us to talk about the being.
That's really good.
I know.
That's really good.
I know. That's why I do this.
This is why you do this for a living.
This is all I do. Ask me to do some tax stuff. I can't do the taxes. Ask me to do this. I can sort it out in a second. Boom. Yeah.
I think you were gonna disagree with me a minute ago.
Oh, about the
sugar daddy.
Yeah. No, I was gonna disagree with you. I was gonna say that. Well, I had some thoughts about sugar daddies and stuff. I think that sugar daddy is basically the same thing as escorting. The guy wants to feel different about the situation. I think he wants to feel like he's having a relationship.
I think the woman wants to feel different about the situation.
Yeah, they both do. They're both kind of like, we're kind of lying to ourselves. Or
we're both lying to each other about what is going on here.
Or we're getting back to the traditional values of how it was 200 years ago. Maybe they think that.
Like a dowry situation.
Right, exactly. It's like the bride price they're paying, or they feel very traditional about it. It allows the guy to feel protective if he gets a sugar daddy situation. Now the woman doesn't realize that the guy wants a protection, which also includes, where are you? Who you hanging out with right now? They don't realize that comes with it. But that's what the guy's doing. He's providing for you in order to protect you. But they don't realize it coming in because they're usually younger, 25, 30. They don't realize that is the guy's trying to exercise his male dominance by providing for you. It's a turn on for him, right? So let's say a turn on for the woman might be a little bit of hair pulling, a little bit of spanking in the bedroom. For the guy, it might be I provided for you, and now I tell you where to go. There's two parts to it, right? They don't realize that. So that's what I want to say with the sugar daddy part. The other part I'll say about is you mentioned people go to companions, professional companions, to feel peace. I had a girlfriend before. She was a dancer at Scores. I don't know if you know Scores.
It's a strip club, right?
Yeah, it's the #1 strip club in New York, okay? It's the kind of place where guys from Wall Street go after work. They all go there. They spend 10 grand in an evening on nothing in the champagne room. It's crazy. And she used to tell me that she danced there for a while. She used to tell me that she was almost like a therapist. She said the guys even pay her for dancing, which is the therapy.
That is what every escort, prostitute, companion, look, the high class variety. That's what every single woman who does that as a job will tell you. They are a therapist. That's the exact word they will use.
She would tell me sometimes a guy would come in and he'd be he just look distraught. She'd be like, "What's wrong, honey?" And he'd be like, "It's my wife." He just go into this whole story, he just didn't have anybody to talk to about it. That's really what it was. It's there's something about a woman that has very nurturing energy but is very attractive that just
that's guy crack.
Oh, that's guy crack. Yeah. Oh, that's guy crack. Put your head on my shoulder and I'm hot. Guys, you want to keep a guy? That's how you keep him.
That's the kryptonite right there.
Yeah. He's down for the count. He'll just give you a credit card after, or whatever you want, is yours afterwards. Just be attractive and just be nurturing to him and feminine. He'll be so satisfied.
And all the girls who are real hustlers in those clubs, they know exactly that's the game.
Yeah, they know it.
Damn, you mentioned something a second ago. Oh yeah. So this is a bit of a tangent, but what are your thoughts on this? With a guy who's say working a high stress job on Wall Street, and he goes to a stripper to vent, to be he's man, my life sucks. To me, that seemed like. I think in this day and age, what guys are lacking is male spaces. Spaces where it's just the bros.
Right.
Like we used to have gentlemen's clubs. Not like strip clubs, but gentlemen's clubs. We used to have these kind of places where it could just be dudes hanging out with dudes, and they could talk about guy shit in the privacy of a masculine environment without, because the moment you add a woman into an interaction, into an environment, the dynamic will always change. Yeah, because some guy is going to be like trying to bag her there.
Absolutely,
it's always changes it. But if it's just dudes. They can be open and they can be honest. They can shoot the shit. They can laugh. They can rip on each other. I don't know if you've ever been to like AA meetings before.
No, I haven't.
I've been to one in Santa Monica, and this was like a stag one. My buddy invited me to it.
Stag, what's that mean?
All guys.
Oh, okay, cool.
Means no women there, and that was one of the most powerful environments I'd never seen anything like it. I was like, this is incredible. All these dudes that are like bleeding their heart out, telling their worst stories, like they're like, and then the next guy is like, you're a piece of shit. And everyone's laughing, right? And I think we kind of miss this in our modern day world. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll go back to the old story. Back in the day, you'd have like a tribe, and they'd take the man out. He was a young boy. He'd be 13, 14 years old, and they'd take him out to hunt a wild boar, and he'd have a spear, and that would take him like 2 or 3 days to come back, and maybe he wouldn't. But if he came back, he'd be a man. Or some of the Inuits would like put like children out on the ice and shit like that, like just like crazy things. Inuits being like Aboriginals for some places, stuff like that. So, not saying that's what needs to happen, but it's incredible because here's something that people don't consider. Because we have so many, the divorce rate has been so high. It's like 50%. Okay, I think it's actually more 50, probably 56. Go ahead. Google the divorce rate, see how high it is in your city or your country, okay? 56% at least or more here in America. So you create a lot of single parent households. What's the effect of that? It doesn't cause it. What's the effect of it? The effect of it is if you have single parent households, you don't have a lot of dads in the picture. So who's raising the boys? Who's teaching them boy stuff? I was raised by a single parent mom. I love her to death, love her so much, the best she could. When she told me, when you ever get in a situation with a bully, just do what Jesus would do. Just turn the other cheek. And what things...
That's a recipe for getting your ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think happens when I turn the other cheek? I get slapped in the other cheek. When bullies would see like easy prey, they just like smell blood in the water and they just go harder. They don't back off. They don't back off. I prefer to remember the example of Jesus when he went into the temple and he flipped over the tables because they were selling shit. Like I want to be angry, Jesus.
Yeah.
I want to be... You're selling stuff in my father's house. I want to be angry, Jesus. I don't want to be turned the other cheek, Jesus. So the point is, like, when you don't have a lot of males' energy around, it affects the guys, and that's the outcome of it. So, unfortunately, we have a situation like that right now. There's not a male spaces have been criticized, and because you have a male space doesn't mean necessarily it means that female spaces have to be less. So I think that's the idea of it. It's like I think socially the idea is like, if you have a male space, you're saying male spaces are better than female spaces, so therefore you can't have male spaces. But that's not what we're trying to say.
No one is ever actually saying that.
No one's actually saying that. That's what's implied, right? It's like, so the word, now the understanding is don't have the male space because that would equal, that means that you're equal to female spaces if you don't have the male space, but that doesn't make any sense mathematically either, right? It's like both spaces have to coexist. A space for females, right, and a space for males. You got to have the scouts and you got to have the girl guides. Yeah. You got to have both. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like my grandmother used to have like she was part of this like radio club where they would like fundraise stuff all the time. Like, but that was her like woman's club. Granddad wasn't involved in that.
Yeah.
Didn't care. He didn't care to be involved in that. But it was just her and her gals. He had his own shit. And I think that's we've this idea of like, we're all exactly the same and we're all like quote unquote equal. Like it's like you're trying to compare apples and oranges. We're not like men and women aren't the same.
No,
we're not exactly the same. And to think that and to treat us like we're exactly the same is kind of, I feel like that's what's got us to some of these places we've talked about already, where there's the dating market is skewed and people are having sort of their expectations aren't matching their reality a lot of the time. But that's where I think it kind of comes from, is like women. I can't remember where I read this, but it was the quote was like, "Women make great mothers, but terrible fathers.
Right.
Referencing to the single motherhood thing.
Right.
Because you need, like, there's a polarity there. Like, the woman is the nurturing one, and the father has to be the one to put his foot down and set enforce boundaries.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned before, when you wanted to, if you want to, bring a girl into your world, you take her out on a date, and you were saying you actively set those boundaries early on, so she knows what she's dealing with. So she knows you're not the kind of guy she can push around or manipulate very easily, and that, lo and behold, leads to more respect.
Right.
Surprising.
Yeah, if the respect is in there, nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen at all.
It's going to happen at all. Yeah, and the guys need that space to learn how to do that from other guys. So you don't know that, like, instinctually. You know something's missing or something's off.
That's what it is. You know something's off.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from just being around other men. Honestly, it's because this is. I think I remember reading this in No More Mr. Nice Guy, and he referenced the transition we made from, like, agrarian societies to a more industrial society, where the boys used to go out on the farms with, like, if I was a boy, I'd go out and learn to work the fields with my father, with my uncle, with my grandfather, and I just learned to be a man through osmosis. Really, that's what it was. But then we turned into an industrial society, and now we've charged women with turning boys into men, because most of the teachers are women, right? They're hanging around with I mean, well, I think it's like over 70% of, like, teachers are women or something like that. It's a very, very skewed field. So the boys are going, they're not hanging out. The father's off at work. He's not around until maybe the evenings, if he is even in the picture, unfortunately. So these things all kind of tie together, I think.
Yeah. It's doesn't look good, man. It doesn't look good.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here.
For this generation, I'm just thinking, like, how, like, the last year, 2020, like, how it also affected that, where, like, people, like, the kids aren't going to school, or maybe they're home, or, like, dad's lost his job now, and, like, mom's yelling at dad because, like, they don't have money for this thing, and, like, I'm just thinking of that whole situation. Like, it doesn't help it at all. Let's move off, like, the dating and the depressing stuff for a second. Yeah. Let's talk about how these sort of let's talk about networking with, like, higher value individuals. Yeah,
because I feel like this is something you're very, very good at, and this is something you've taken your skill set, like I said, from, like, the dating side of things, the interacting with people face to face, applied it to, and you teach people as well to apply it to business, networking, these kind of things. How can people sort of ensure that they're always adding value to an interaction, no matter who it is?
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for saying that. We've worked with a lot of people, people from, like, I don't know. I mean, I've been approached by Ariana Grande before. We've worked with, like, guys who are the head like, two of my clients I can think of have publicly traded companies on NASDAQ. Sorry, not NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange. We've worked with everybody from, like, guys who write speeches for Trump, founders of, like, Hip Hop DX, guys from, like, Ty Lopez's camp work with us, like, just tons and tons and tons of people. I mentioned, like, who our sales guys are and stuff like that. So everybody that's a high, and also I get hit up a lot on Instagram as well. I don't get as much as, like, a attractive women, but I get probably, like, 20 to 30 DMs a day.
Your DMs have less sausage pictures, I imagine.
No.
What?
No, you'd be surprised.
God damn.
Yeah, it's usually like, thanks, Madison, with, like, a thumbs up and, like, some, like, situation I don't want to see. And I'm like, come on, man. You're trying to.
Oh, okay. So guys are sending you, like, receipts.
Yes, exactly.
Of victory.
They're sending me receipts, and I'm like, I don't want to see that. I'm like, if I was your hero, why would you subject me to that trauma? That's what they send me receipts. So I get just as much as an attractive woman. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The guy helped you. You want to send him, like, proof that he helped you. Like, it's the ultimate gratitude is to send him a picture of you in the act. And it's never, like, a good picture because you're not good at this, right?
Yeah, he's not professional.
No, he's not professional. It's a bad picture of whatever he's doing. It's mostly him.
The lighting's off. The exposure's all wrong.
It's just a bad picture, bad composition. It's mostly him. and there's no warning, and that's my life. You're getting it, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I think you could resonate with it mostly.
Yeah, I get a lot of gay fans.
Oh,
being straight male porn stars have a lot of gay fans.
Okay,
that's kind of like what we get. So we see. I get the very, very interesting perspective. I get to see it from, like, the woman's perspective.
Oh,
so I see me and my fellow colleagues. We see exactly what women get
Right.
In their DMs, I see exactly why they're sick of this shit. You're just getting it all. Someone you don't know,
right?
Saying like, especially on Instagram. I don't understand why anyone would ever try to voice call somebody on Instagram. Do you get this? Because I get this all the goddamn time.
No, I don't. I don't get voice calls.
Some random gay man in the Middle East or India trying to voice call me. But like, because you'll go through your message, you'll go through your message. Well, yeah, go through your message request. I'll go through my message request and I'll be like, missed voice call, and I click on the conversation and I don't accept it, but I click on it so I can see it.
Yeah.
And it's like 4 missed voice calls.
Wow.
Like, what is this person trying to accomplish? Like, what do you think's going to happen?
Wow.
For a start, I've never had a voice call with anyone I know on Instagram.
Okay.
Why would I do it with a complete stranger?
Shoot your shot, man. But that's 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's what you see. You see from our perspective, you see exactly what girls are dealing with. And here's I'll let you complete your point, but really quickly on the sausage pics. Let's just call them sausage pics, right? Fuck it, dick pics or whatever. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm swearing enough on this goddamn thing anyway, so it's not going to get monetized. I had this conversation with a girl I was on a date with last night, and it was, I have a rule where even as a porn star, I don't send dick pics unless I've already had. The only exception I have is if I've already had sex with a girl and she wants one, then I might send one. But here's why: because a woman doesn't have a relationship with that dick. If it's a random dick, if it's her daddy's dick, she has a relationship with the dick. Then she likes to see the dick pics. If it's a stranger's wang, she doesn't give a shit. It's like might as well be a roast chicken.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything.
I would also argue that most guys don't look that good. They look like turtles that just came out of a shell. So why would you send? There's nothing physically attractive usually about most of these organs.
The last chicken in the shop look.
It's just there on the ice, or like in the rotisserie. It's just it's like, hey,
no, it's not the rotisserie one. It's the one that's not cooked.
Oh, wow.
It's just like sitting there at the butcher's shop.
Wow.
No one else wanted it. It's just like, look.
Yeah. I don't think they'd be very much into that. No. Yeah, it's about who it's attached to. Is the point.
That's the point I'm trying to make without saying the word dick a million times, just to make you guys listen to it. But the hack I have learned in the last few years working in this industry is that what's even better than even if like, forget dick pics. I'm going to give you guys the golden ticket here. What you want to do instead is do if she wants that kind of a picture, and if you already had sex with her, send her the morning wood grey sweatpants picture.
You send a picture.
So you have morning wood, and you're wearing grey sweatpants.
You have to go basically get your grey sweatpants, put them on.
Exactly. Put them on.
Yep.
Because it's the dick print, the outline.
Right.
Because a woman's imagination is your most powerful friend.
Yep. Yeah.
So you just give her a taste.
Right.
You don't give her the real thing.
It's the idea. Like you ever see
idea.
Exactly. Like you ever see women of course you've seen this, but have I
ever seen a woman? Never met one.
What are they? Ew, gross. And sometimes women will like especially if they're like bisexual or lesbian, they'll send like sexy photos. So it's like, oh, here's a picture of my leg, and then they send it to each other, and they're like, oh, that's so hot. Whenever I have I've had let's say group situations, and whenever I've had those, like I usually put all the women into a WhatsApp group together so they can like flirt with each other. And it's like, oh, here's a picture of my ankle, and like, ooh, Sarah, that ankle's so hot. Here's a picture of my knee, and I'm like, what is this? What is this? It's like the idea of it is more hotter than the actual thing. So I see where the gray sweatpants thing is coming from. You know what? If you want me and Sterling to make a program together, we can. We'll call it Sweatpants Mastery. We'll teach you all about the angles, the lighting, what filter to put on you. Do you want to put like the hearts filter on your sweatpants print?
What kind of sweatpants are we buying?
Yeah.
What brand?
Are we going to Zara? Are we going to H&M? How often do you want to send it? And listen, just so that you're not alone, for a limited time, we're going to create a sweatpants dick print mastery group where you and other like-minded individuals can get together in a community. Because nobody wants to be sending sweatpants dick prints alone.
You can have your dick print pics vetted by all the other men in the dick print group.
How do you rate this one? This isn't gay. No, we're just rating our dick prints. This is fine. It's fine. It's fine. For a limited time, only for the first 5 people, okay? Act now before the group closes. It's going down.
I regret bringing up this topic.
It's a Kickstarter. We're going to start a Kickstarter for it. It's going to be great. And for a limited time right now, get the bonuses before they expire. You went into it, man.
My fault. Look, this is all my fault. Before I went in that path, you were going to talk about... you were talking about all the people you were networking with.
Yeah.
And you were talking about...
True, yeah.
And you were talking about your friend...
Right.
Is that how we ended up on... you were talking about DMs.
Yeah. No, it wasn't DMs. It was, you were saying high value. How do these skills relate to high value people?
And networking with high value. The question I asked was, how do you make sure you're always adding value? That was the question. Don't send a dick pic.
Yeah, don't send a sweatpants print. Don't send that. That is the first way to kill a high value situation.
Rule number one. You learned it here first.
Yeah. The other thing to realize is that these people all have like tons of offers, as we said. And they're so busy that they can't even process the offer that you're giving them. So imagine it's like, like you walk through a mall and there's a guy at a kiosk is like, hey, do you want to buy a cell phone? Do you want to buy this? Do you want to, you're just hearing this constantly all day.
Why does he have an accent?
Because it's a low wage paying job. Usually it is, and it's.
You better not get this channel banned.
No.
Racist tirades.
I'm Canadian.
Madison.
I'm Canadian, so it just excludes me from everything. Okay, Democrat, Republican. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't have my hat in this ring. I can say whatever I want. It's great.
You're playing other people play the race card. You play the Canadian card.
Boom, constantly. I love it. I'm like Drake. Who doesn't like Drake? It's like oatmeal. So. It's like these people are so bombarded with offers they can't even process it. They might like to meet you. They might want to meet you. They might even get along with you if they did meet you, but they can't process it. So the first thing you got to realize is that they're just bombarded, and don't take it personal. Second thing you got to think of is, what does this person actually want in their life right now? How can I help them out? So I gotta get the basics down. That is, be funny, witty, charming, learn how to tell a story, learn how to intrigue, learn how to hold your value, learn some body language stuff, learn some eye contact stuff. Learn not to ask too many questions. Learn to make statements more. Just the basic fundamentals, okay? Get these things down and then say, all right, what am I going to invite this person into? How can I help them with what's going on in their life? That's the best way to make a high-value connection because they have some problems they need to solve. There's a great book, I can't remember what it was called, but it was written, and it said the best ways to help out somebody they'll never forget are on their health, on their wealth, or their family relationships. And if you can help somebody in one of those three areas, just do it for free, just for fun, to help them out. Add some value to them, then it'll be great. They'll always remember you in that regards, and they'll always appreciate it.
That's really powerful. I like that.
Powerful stuff.
How have you? Have you ever helped someone out with their family relationships? It just seemed I've never heard someone suggest that particular. I was just curious.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I'm trying not to be too graphic here. How do I say it? So
if you can't
I can't get too specific because it's like,
obviously,
because I have to give the context of who the people are to really like add to that one and explain who it is. But sometimes if you just even follow somebody on Instagram, they're having a family situation. You could even know a celebrity that's having a family situation, right? They're having they got a kid that's in the hospital. They got they're going through a certain scandal or whatever. And if you reach out to them and help them once you meet them, wow, thank you for helping with that. That's a really important, dear part of my life. You hit them on a very, very personal level, because a lot of this stuff is probably public for them if they are a celebrity or a high value person. It's probably out there. People know about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if I were to walk up to Bill Gates right now, who just got divorced, or if I were to walk up to, who was it? Jeff Bezos. Listen, man, I know you just lost $1 billion. There's this thing called dating advice. Let me help you out. Here's how, come with me. We're going to go meet some people around the club. They'd be like, yo, they'd be blown away, right? They'd be blown away. I know I saw Robert Kiyosaki on the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Yeah, he was here in town.
Okay, yeah. So it's he's like, I just got a divorce. I didn't realize I was the simp. I have to work on my divorce. He's like, thank you so much. You guys might know Tony Hsieh, who was the head of Zappos. He recently passed away, unfortunately, about a month ago. Zappos, $1 billion company, bought my Amazon. He used to come to our talks all the time. I would see him 3 or 4 times. I met Tony Hsieh. So it's there's not if you can help a person in this area, there's no guy that's unreachable.
That's a really good frame of mind. There's no guy that's unreachable because everybody has problems.
Yeah, I'm like the mafia. Everybody can be touched.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Now I regret having you in my life.
Well, you're like the mafia too. Everybody can be touched, but in a different way.
Only consensually. Only if they've signed the appropriate paperwork.
Exactly. There's an NDA.
Exactly. And and they've agreed upon a certain rate and checks, and it's all absolutely. We have a certain way of doing things around here.
I appreciate it.
was there anything you were curious about me? You wanted to ask me?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit off camera before.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I asked you that stuff. I guess
I actually might tell that because it's interesting how we met.
Sure, yeah.
Because so I was actually walking down the street, down just outside my apartment, and I bumped into you and Coach Kyle. Mm-hmm. Coach Kyle actually recognized me walking down the street. He was like, "Hey, are you Stirling?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're Coach Kyle," and I recognized you. I was like, "You're Madison, aren't you?"
Right.
From He Who Shall Not Be Named company. Mm-hmm. And then we reached out on Instagram.
Yeah.
But you asked me how I sort of ended up where I am at, and I said that when I was a young man, had a bad breakup, terrible with women. I Googled how to talk to chicks, ended up down that rabbit hole, ended up coming across the largest dating company that there has ever been, and started consuming some of your content in my early 20s. And then that led me to infiltrating the swinging scene, and then the high-class male companion scene, and then the porn scene, and then that's how I ended up where I am now.
That's crazy. It's quite a journey. Yeah, and like meeting you was kind of funny because at first I sort of had an idea of what you might do.
Don't tell me you recognize me.
No. I had an idea because you had a certain stature about you, and usually guys that are into this stuff kind of find it in the developing stages, so they haven't developed their social skills. But you're also Australian, so you had those social skills as well. So I was like, oh, he's a gift of gab. What's going on here? And I was like surprised about how excited Kyle was about it.
Right.
He was over the moon. He's like, yo, like from across the street, and I was like, okay, Kyle, we didn't talk about like what you do.
Who is this guy?
How are you spending your free time? But then I looked at your stuff and it was pretty cool. I liked your channel. I liked what you were doing on your channel. I liked the angle of it. I think the adult education was some fun. I saw that you were having a good balance of males and females on your channel as well, which I appreciate that. I think it's good to have a channel. It's a meeting space and a conversation for both people.
Yeah, I try to get as many female porn stars on the show as I can. Mm-hmm. It's good. And actually, I've got some plans in the works to expand outside of that. Right. And just because you know what, I started a TikTok. TikTok is cancer. Back in like February, and we just filmed a bunch of stuff, put it out there just to see what happened. And you know what I was most surprised by was the number of women in the TikTok on the comments on my videos being like, yes, what this guy is saying is true. Yeah. And the funny thing was, so it would be, for example, there was one video that kind of blew up. It was me talking about the most counterintuitive thing that a woman likes in the bed, right? And I said, losing control is the most counterintuitive thing that a woman like in the bedroom. So the idea of her losing control. And it was funny. The comment section of that on that TikTok was 50% men saying that's R-A-P, rhymes with grape, bro, right? Or that will get you an assault charge, or this is bad, this is blah, blah, blah. And then the other half were women agreeing with me, which I found very, very intriguing. Just sort of exposing the kind of darker nature of our sexuality, like out in the open, being totally unapologetic about it and being like frank about it. I was very, very pleased to see the reception of that. So I've got plans in the works to do something a bit more with just, you know, regular women on the street and getting their trying to get their honest opinions on this stuff, because a lot of the stuff I teach, like, I know it works because I see the results.
And you've seen them too.
Well, it's not just the fact that forget what I do.
Right.
Take that completely out of the equation. I know it works because of my students' results. Right. Because I'm every day I'm opening up my emails and I'm getting thought out messages or DMs on my Instagram from guys like, dude, thank you so much. I had this interaction with my wife. This is the best sex me and my wife have had in like 10 years. Or I just saw this girl. She thinks I'm the greatest lover she's ever had. Stuff like this from dudes who have no sexual experience before. I'm like, all right, I know how to teach this shit. Like, I know it's working. And so that's why I'm sort of comfortable putting the more, you know, if I'm being honest, taking a bit of a risk with it, with some of the things I put out there, because they're not super PC, you know, to say something like that. But getting that honest opinion from women, and porn stars, man, they're the most honest women in the world. Oh yeah. Like, say what you will about, you know, being philanderous, they tell you the truth.
Yeah, I can imagine.
100%. And the first thing, if I ask any porn star, the first thing whenever I ask them, what's the biggest hygiene mistake a guy can make? They'll be like, wash your goddamn balls.
Wow.
First thing every woman will say is wash your goddamn balls. Pro tip.
Pro tip.
But why don't we end it there, Madison?
Yeah,
on washables.
I think it's a good spot.
Look, and thank you for making the time.
Yes, man.
To come out and you said before you don't do this very much. You don't go on other people's stuff very much.
I don't. I just made a conscious decision to kind of like just see what's out there. I've never done a podcast format before. Like I thought it'd be fun to do. It's different than talking directly into a camera. You can know every once in a while I still kind of talk to you at home right now, watching us in your boxers. I still do that.
Watching in your gray sweatpants.
Hopefully. And then I still go back and forth, but I've never actually like had a conversation thing. I've been thinking about just spending more time in Miami. I love Miami.
It's a good city, man.
It's turning into the spot. I was walking down the street the other day. I was like recognized by like Justin Wayne and like all these other people. People come to me all the time. I'm like, you watch this stuff? You know? I'm like, okay. So it's really crazy. It's becoming the city here in Austin. So you just want to come out here a little bit more. Excited to meet with you. I wanted to do this. You got a nice setup. It feels very. I feel like in my house as a guy, I need like an arm button chair. Are they called an armoire chair?
Tufted.
Yeah. Oh, I need this. Because you need to just sit back one day after a long day with the whiskey. And you just need to be able to just have this.
And you know what? And because a woman can sit on here.
Yes. Understood.
You can lay back, and a beautiful woman can sort of sit there,
right,
and like feed you grapes. At the same time,
grapes.
Okay. Yeah,
I like grapes. I like grapes.
Everything here is deliberate.
Right, and then you feed her grapes as well. The grape feeding goes both
Back
ways.
And forth.
Yeah, I should put that in my program.
Is there anything you want to promote? Anything? Where can guys find you? Where's the best place to find your stuff right now?
Yeah.
What's happening in the future? What have you got planned coming out?
So, all right. Right now, I've had a whole bunch of clients that I was working with in 2019 that I had to delay. I moved them over to 2021. I do what's usually my biggest program is called a boot camp, where I take people out live, face to face, and I show them how to meet people. Okay, they get to watch me do it, so you get to see it in real life. Like it's the craziest shit you've ever seen. It's like a rampage through the city. Okay, of just like meeting people, and you're like watching, like, oh shit, it's real. If you want to see it live, face to face, it's the best thing. But I also have a digital program. Okay. And this is since I'm retiring all this old classic content, it can't exist out here in this world anymore. Okay. It can't be out. It just can't be out anymore. So I'm retiring all the stuff. It's available for just 1 month. At the end of this month, I'm going to be taking it down.
End of June.
End of June. Yeah.
30th of June.
Yeah. If you're watching this, it's in June. We're recording this. So the end of June, I'll be taking this stuff down. But we'll leave it up for you guys that are into Stirling stuff. So, it's all my digital programs where you learn everything that I've talked about. If you want to get over running out of things to say, if you're dealing with anxiety when it comes to meeting people, if you find you get stuck in your head and you want to deal with that, if you want to learn how to bring out your best qualities in yourself as a person, if you feel trapped and you don't know how to use your online dating skills, you're like just trapped in the online dating, you just are not making any success there, any progress there, you can come check out my digital programs, okay? I have 3 programs now, literally for 91% off. It's my whole fucking life's work. It's like think about how incredibly insane that is. Like somebody's whole life work for 91% off. It's like basically we're making enough to like keep the website going and like pay some bills. It's more of just like a legacy thing. I want to have it available for people who are interested in that stuff. You should definitely check it out. It's like a no-brainer, okay? We'll put a website link for you to get a personal website link. It'll probably be like madison91.com/Stirling. We'll put a website link there. You guys can check it out. All my stuff has a 100% money back guarantee. There's no risk. So I know you're going to love it. Absolutely, you're going to love it. But if in case that you didn't, you could always like return it. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. I just want to make sure that you enjoy it. As I said, it's up for a very, very limited time. It's not like a marketing thing. It's like a legit, like just state of the world thing, just like a cultural thing. Okay. So we'll put that together for you guys. You're going to have in that program, you have exercises you can do from the comfort of your home, even to get good at this stuff. There's an exercise you can do face to face if you want to go out and meet people at cafes, bars, lounges. There's exercises doing that. There's also video examples, okay, like hidden camera video examples of me doing stuff. It's basically like his camera work, but not that graphic. It's like me meeting people in real life. You can see me explain it to you and break it down to you in real time. Like, you see the way that her eyes did this? That means that she's feeling this way. You see the way I did this with my arm? It means this. And I'm breaking it down to you step by step in a very replicatable, easy system. You're going to get results right away. Guys call me like a week later. They're like, this changed my life. I got good results. And I have literally sold thousands of these programs, okay? Thousands of them at this point. So yeah, it's one of the best programs ever created on this. In the history of this stuff, it's not just my opinion. It's the opinion of a lot of people that are out here. I train a lot of the top coaches as well. The people, I don't talk about that publicly, but I train the guys that I train them as well. Yeah.
And then where can everybody find you? YouTube, Instagram?
Yeah, so we're on YouTube right now. So just check out Madison himself.
That's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, Madison space HIMSELF. Actually, it's on my YouTube channel. It's Mr. I think it's Mr. Madison. I don't know. We'll put a link for it. We'll figure that out. Instagram is Madison himself. I think my YouTube is Mr. Madison. I changed the name of it recently, so yeah, we'll put a link for it there. Just follow my stuff. Just watch a bunch of videos. Go down the rabbit hole. Go down the rabbit hole.
Your Instagram is Mr. Madison, right?
My Instagram is Madison himself.
Oh, Instagram. I'm getting everyone confused.
Yeah, Instagram is Madison himself. I think YouTube is Mr. Madison. I changed the name recently, and just check out the stuff. Just go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Watch it. I got tons of videos there about like practical things to do. We had an informative conversation today. The stuff there is like step by step, like how do you deal with this? How do you get over an ex? How do you get a girlfriend? How do you deal with meeting other high value males? How do you deal with blah, blah, blah. We just break it down, very digestible format.
I like it. Thank you once again, Madison.
Thank you, man.
Absolute pleasure.
This was fun.
You're welcome back anytime you like, sir.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we'll see you back in Miami.
Yeah, I'm going to be down here a lot more. I mean, I want to be in Miami. It feels like I used to live in LA 2015, but this feels like my new kind of like
this city's going off, man.
Yeah, it feels good.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.